let's do the couch today. It's on page 8. And as I was skimming through, it looks like you'll need some kind of super glue, double stick tape, and a pair of scissors that cut fabric fairly well. So we had this piece of fabric, and that one, I believe they put in the C3 bag. It's pretty distinctive, so you can find that. Then there's the C16 page, and this is supposed to go on here. You do this first, and like I've told you before, you want to leave a little margin around these. You know, I realize if we look at the picture, they don't show you that, but I've talked about cutting patterns, and this is just the most effective way to get a nice clean cut. So after looking at this, I decided we don't need to use an X-Acto knife on this. I think it's going to be perfectly fine to just use the scissors, because unless you're really wobbly, then this is getting covered with the vinyl, and it's just not going to matter if it's a little bit off. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I have shown you before, and that is to use the double stick tape. I'll move this here. Double stick tape to hold your patterns down. Now there's quite a few pieces on this, so I'm really gonna glue this down and see how that works, if it sticks on this kind of fabric. Yeah, it looks like it will just perfectly fine. And what's nice is I don't have to remove any of the stick, you know, so that it's not as tacky, because this isn't going to fray. It'll come right off. It might pull up a few of the fibers a little bit, you can tell, but those can be smoothed back down. It's no big deal. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take my scissors and go ahead and cut through both layers as usual. And a lot of times I'll just keep going across on my patterns and just cut off in slices that way. It doesn't really matter, but that's just kind of my style. And if I look under here, I should get a pretty darn straight edge, and I did. So I will go ahead and speed this up so you don't have to watch me do that, but I'm just going to continue in that manner. So here we go. Okay, so what they have us do, and you know, guys, this does, you know, they're not really very good about this. You have to look very closely, and it talks here at the bottom, cut out C15 according to the C15-5 template, and then you're going to wrap, but they don't really show you that what they're talking about is this piece of paper. So you have to pay careful attention, because it's well, actually it's probably the last piece of paper we have, so maybe that's not that big of a deal. But I'm looking at this, and if you didn't read carefully here, you're probably wondering, well, how did I cut that? Was I just supposed to cut it from scratch or what? And so, you know, this is what they're talking about. So they want the C15-5. So there are 2 of these, and I want to go ahead and once again do the same idea, and I can just follow their dotted line so that I have a margin and that I am careful not to cut the others. So this is what they mean, these. So this is the same idea where I'm going to take this and I'm going to tape my double stick, which is a lot more sticky than I really would like. You know, it kind of had to adjust these a little bit, but nevertheless, I am going to find my fake leather here, and I'm going to be careful to cut things on right on the edge. You know, like where their dotted line is sort of what you want to do, because they don't often give you any extra. Like, I've found that it may just be a tiny strip, or like these pieces here. So this is not something that you can just, oh, I'm gonna cut it here because it's more more convenient to me to make. You really can't do that. You've got to do it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the wrong side to stick down. And with this, I'm going to see about something. Wonder if I ran out of sticky tape. I'm doing it the wrong way. That would help if you do it the right way, Melissa. Brother. So, yeah, it's nice. Just gonna try to hold this down, see if I've gotten enough to get the corners down here. I didn't do the best job with the batting, this white stuff. So, okay, now in this case, let me see if it matters if I use scissors or if I need an X-Acto. It looks as if scissors will be fine, but whenever we're working with fabric at the corners, we need to be very careful here, because we don't want to cut past that, and it's like very, very carefully. So what I'm going to do is cut this one out to show you what I mean. I want to cut a little more carefully than I did on the batting. Along here. Okay, so I can pull this out. So what I'm talking about is when I cut these, I really want to observe that corner and not go beyond. And so if you have to tip your scissors, and that's hard to do, it's hard to not go past that. But you just have to slow down and be careful there. And see, I didn't even quite do it. It's better to not do it and have to go back and adjust it than it is to do too much. And if they have designed this correctly, which I've never done this kit, so I don't know, but if they've been very careful, then as long as I'm very careful, the corners should be nice and neat. So we want to kind of tip and just, I'm even putting my finger under the very end of my scissors. And I just want to be super careful. Oops, that was definitely not taped down. Wonder how well this it trims up pretty well. If you mess up. All right, little by little. Okay. So what they're doing is they're showing that these are our bottom cushions. And let me see here, these are all the same size. They want us to take 2 of these. And we're going to put this here. Well, I can tell you this might be a pain in the patookus. They chose not to do something a little stiffer in here. I don't know how I feel about that. See my corners, if I did them correctly. I'm just doing a little test here. I think my corners are okay. I don't like that this is going to be so wobbly. Not crazy about that at all. Well, okay, so one thing I can do is I can go ahead and see about putting a little bit of, let's put a little bit of glue, just a little bit of glue. Get that open. There we go. Remove that. It's just unneeded. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. I'm just going to do a few dots here to hold this down. Hold these together. I am just not crazy about that. What I'm afraid of, what I'm complaining about is that when this is so flexible, when I go to glue this down, I'm afraid that it's gonna go on crooked. So this is not my favorite idea. So instead of doing a lot of griping, I started to problem solve and I figured out what can be done here. Now, luckily with this kit, there was just enough extra that I could just get rid of the other cushion, and then I will be able to cut an extra one out. So when I did my problem solving, you'll see that the edges are nice, and I'm going to show you also why this looks like this. And all I did is I found a piece of cardstock that I had laying around. You could use, say, something that food, cereal or pasta or something comes in, and then you're just going to cut this out and make sure that it fits there, right? On the edge. And I'll move this over because I'm not sure if you can see what I'm talking about. So right in there. So then, these two were already pretty much glued together. And so what I'm going to want to do here is just use some more super glue and go ahead and attach this. Okay. And I can do the good side just in case. it shouldn't, you know. Well, let's see. Let's do the bad side. Let's do this side. I don't know that it matters, but we're going to do this. Just in case I want to cover that up. So, of course, I glued this right down to my mat. I'm having issues today. Okay. Well, now both sides are bad, right? Okay. Give that the trim. I don't know that this is going to matter, but it's just in case it would show through. And this is a little bit loose now. Let's go ahead and glue that down a little bit. All right. I do not have super glue skills at all. So that's all one piece. And I can go in here and I can make some trim to keep that batting even, you know, if it's gotten warped, which it has because I've messed this piece up so much. I can just trim and I'll be good to go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, and this already had sticky on the back of it. This is the placement for the others. That's how I did this to salvage it. So if something happens and you need to do it, that's the layout. So I'm gonna move this if you needed that extra. Now I don't have the benefit now of a nice pattern with a margin, but I'm still gonna go ahead and put some more sticky on it so it holds it down on the corners in particular now. And I'm just gonna cut this out very carefully here. I can even scooch this up and make my life a little easier, I think. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this puppy out, and then I'll show you what I did. So it's going to make it even more difficult for me to get those corners. So I'm actually not going to go all the way to the edge. I'm going to go just in enough that this will be kind of hanging off. And I'm doing that because I'm not going to really be able to tell, because my scissors are going to be sort of in the way now. So hopefully this is something I've done before. I've made a mistake and then done this without a margin. So see, I can tell now where I need to be. And just cut off enough like I did before. I put my finger, I don't know if you notice, under here so that I can maintain control of my scissors, since I'm trying to do such a fine cut. Okay. Oops. This is some of the weirdest fabric I've ever dealt with. It's, I don't know, it's like, I guess it's just very inexpensive vinyl. Usually the vinyls that I have worked with in these kits or in my own Well, I know the choices I've made in my own designs have been much thicker. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to take the soft side down, and it looks like a little trim will still be necessary here. Get this all cleaned up again. So now I have something to glue to. I have a nice foundation. It gives me a little bit of stability. I don't want to use a thicker cardboard because I don't think I would be able to get my fabric around here. I would actually have to adjust these corners more. So I'm going to do the large flaps first, which is a good idea in general to do the larger ones and to keep track of which side you did do first so that you don't have these all lapped over in different ways. And so I'm just going to go ahead and glue that down and make sure it's nice and even. You can see some of that, and that's okay. Squish this and fold it over to get a cleaner look. So same thing here. This part's the easier part. Okay, carefully. Want to pull firmly, tightly here, and then yeah, tightly. But I'm not letting that poof back out like it was before. Now I have a nice foundation, and see, that's so much better, so much easier. A little bit of glue or something there. So much better here. Okay, so let me show you something for the sides. If you cut a little bit, don't cut very far. Just cut maybe, let's say, about like so, enough that when you pull this over, you're not going to see that seam. So this could be even shorter. You could do it halfway. And here's what's going to happen. See, I'll be able to glue this, and it'll have that piece that I didn't like so much originally. I can pull that in, and then it'll show less. Now, I can't tell you for sure that that would show. It could be on this couch that I could glue it down really firmly and that wouldn't show. But that's not always the case. And when I go to glue this, don't glue this middle part yet. Just glue this outside part. Because first of all, I need a place to put my fingers instead of in the super glue. And I'm going to check my corner. It's nice. Pull it nice, firmly, and at an angle, a little bit of an angle. Okay, so if you see what I'm doing here, pulling those in a nice angle. So now that I have that on there, I can glue the middle, but I want to be careful in the middle here because I want this to be nice and flat so that when I do this, it's not going to pucker. So we just rinse and repeat here. I'm going to do this on this side. Same deal. Check your corner. Make sure it's a nice clean corner. Okay. Same idea. Right in here. Same thing. And I'm really checking to make sure that goes straight across. And in the case of this fabric, it's nice and thin. So I can have this overlap and it's not going to matter. If I had a thicker fabric, what I would do is I would actually cut some of this, right? I would cut this very carefully just on the back, very, very carefully, and it would get rid of some of that bulk. And it wouldn't be a problem if I were using this for something on a wall, or who knows. You never know what you want to design or put together. So I'm going to do the same thing, and you'll notice, see, I can pull this in. So have a nice clean corner. I can glue this down, hopefully not to my hand. Okay, last one. And so same idea, watching my corner, bringing this in at an angle, like so. More super glue on my finger, and probably I could use gloves, but then I'll have gloves adhered to this. I'm a mess. I'm truly a mess. So pull this in. Got a little bit of a seam there. Oh, pull that. Now, see, less griping, more problem solving, and it turned out okay. Those are fine now. They have nice corners on them. This fabric is not at all what I thought it was going to be like. And so please, I would really take my advice on this and put these little pieces of cardboard in here. So what'll happen here is I will speed this up because, or edit it out. You don't need to see me cut all of these again, but I will show you how to go ahead and add these. What's nice about these is I'm pretty sure, with the exception of that, which is a pillow, that's the pillow. I think that's the pillow. One of these is a pillow. Oh, it's this one. I think this one is actually the pillow. With the exception of this one, you will be working with wood. So you will have something nice and sturdy behind these. So there should not be any problem like there was with this. So I'll go ahead and stop. So I was able to just barely get all of these cut out. Now when I got to these, I realized that it would be a very good idea, since these are what will cover the front of the arms of the couch, that I really wanted to be very careful about that. So I had not been using my X-Acto knife to cut because it just wasn't that important, but I decided on these because they're so small as well. So I wanted to show you, I like to go straight across like this, I've told you, and don't start down here at the fabric because this fabric moves. So instead start on the paper, place here, and you're going to need to cut fairly firmly. And so, yeah, see, firmly, that doesn't really matter there, but make sure you get all the way through. Do rinse and repeat over here. So then I was able to get in here with, yeah, I have a couple pieces right there. Yeah, right in here. My blade is now dull from doing this before, I think, when I was off camera. Yeah, it's a little bit dulled. Nevertheless, this is what I'm doing, is I'm getting an exact cut. Nice edge. If I have any fuzzies, I want to go ahead and clean that up if I do, just in case. Okay, so now I don't really need the ruler. I can just go in here once again, starting kind of in, and just so much easier this way with these tiny ones to just use that. And when I'm a little off like this, I can just press down and it's fine. Clean that up a bit. Then, you know, when I get in my corners here, I can be really careful. And let's see, that end could use a little trim. Okay. And I just continue on here. Okay, so these are good. I'm not going to need that pattern stuck to it. So the next thing I had done is I had gone ahead and rooted around in the box for all of the pieces of wood and pulling out what I thought was for the couch. And then going back to, I believe it is page 2, to check and make sure that I have the right ones. So see on page 2, it gives me the dimensions for these pieces of wood. Now in this case, it's fairly obvious, right? However, sometimes there are many, many pieces for shelving, cabinetry, and you really need to go back and see how many there are. And tells you 2 pieces, etc. Okay, when I did that, then I pulled these and I actually labeled them what they were supposed to be. And once again, this is fairly obvious, but I'm just kind of showing you that in some cases you really want to label them, you want to double check. So what they tell us to do next on the couch is to go ahead and work on the bottom. So the bottom is, it requires 2 pieces again of this, but now it's going to be so nice because it's wood. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before, and I'm going to glue all of those pieces together. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'll glue these all down with my super glue so that nothing moves around too much. And I do think I'm running out of super glue. This project has done that. And just get that to the edge. It can always be trimmed if this goes over the edge. Otherwise it gets trimmed, no big deal. So a little bit of this as well. Get this to stick this way as well. Press that down. that to adhere if I'm lucky. Okay. Get that to the edge as much as possible, but not over. But this batting, of course, moves all over no matter what. Okay, so this nice soft side goes down because that's going to be the bottom. You want it to be nice and soft. So that's what they tell us to do. And so this is going to be the same idea as before, only this time they haven't done anything to make our lives difficult. So I'll do the big ones first. It doesn't like adhering to the wood. So you'll need to hold it down, keep pushing this down, it looks like. My grandmother would say, if it's not one thing, it's another. Now, when they did this, I'm checking something here. It's not going to be a big deal. I see a potential problem. Just pull. Really adhere this firmly. Oh, that's going to go toward the back. I don't know, you probably didn't see what I did, but I glued. I accidentally pulled a little bit of that off. So that will go toward the back. So this is a little different. You know, it's got a cut there. It's a little different because you have to make sure that that doesn't pucker. But the same idea, cutting in just a little bit here, not too far, because we don't want that to show. See, that's why I'm doing it. Just a little bit is all that is necessary right there, like that. Okay. So, not in the middle yet, remember? And this is going to require some real manipulation here to get that nice edge. I'm not as pleased with that edge. This one is going to look better, I think. This edge is gonna look better. Okay, I'm actually gonna pull this. I'm gonna do this side first instead of finishing that side, because I want this to be a nice clean edge. It's like a little niblet there. I have to be so careful when I try to trim this. Okay. These ends are not my favorite. And then this might show a little, so I could get in there and trim that if it does. But this has got to be the back because I made that mess. So this is nice. That should work. And I think I can just get in there and trim this a little bit. I think this part is what, yeah, this faces down. This is actually where you attach the feet. So this really isn't going to show, but it just is something that I'll know is there and it'll bother me. But I can trim that, trim this ever so carefully. And if I'm not happy about that, I can do it more. So this back, yeah. See, that has to go in more. I didn't glue this side down yet. Not gonna matter. Not gonna matter. I'll just put a little in there in case it hangs down or something. If this were a different fabric, I would put a little bit of glue there because I don't like the way that puckers out. This side is good. It doesn't pucker out that much. Well, that is where the pillow will go. This is just, I hate super glue for this reason, many reasons. But this kind of fabric just doesn't, I don't know. With a more expensive vinyl, like what I've done with my own designs, this kind of thing, it doesn't pull at it as much. So what's going to happen here is there will be a back, and then there's going to be some, it's going to go, let me see here. I don't know that that matters at all. I think these go like so. These are gonna go like that, I believe. So that didn't matter. But this will show, so I do want this to be my front. And luckily enough, and that can be straightened out. Luckily enough, this is going to go here, here, and here. So that's what's going to happen there. We don't need to do that yet. I don't think they want you to. And we don't need to. So this is your back, and it's going to be the same skill. Okay, so let's go ahead and I just took this and put the fluffy side down for the back, and I'm doing the sides first because I think that that's going to work better. I think that I can kind of watch my corners a little bit better because, you know, again, I need to be checking my corners and seeing if they are nice and crisp. Okay, I think that's going to be fine. So I'm going to do a little short end here first, or I guess that'd be second. Going to, let's see here, what would be best if we do, it might actually be best to go from the outside in. That looks, it's kind of a weird thing, but I'm thinking you can get more control over the ends this way. So I can try to get that to be a really nice seam. It's going to require a little bit of glue later. If I do these, I can control them. And this should be pretty good. We need to trim, a little trim there. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, all right, so in the middle, this can always be sort of adjusted a bit. And do that. This even across here. Okay, a bit here. Should be good. Run along with that end. Okay, looking good. So I want to take this down and probably going to want to pull this fairly tight is my guess. So I can maybe even have a little bit of extra hanging off the end here. Let's see here. Okay, so the best way to do this, let's probably go from the ends. Yeah, let's do that. Go along here. See how this works out. Just gently. Okay. Yeah. See, that stuff shows. It's not bad. Well, nevertheless, let's do this here. Get a little bit of it up in here because I want to cover up that right in there. See, So, okay, so let me see here. Let's just go ahead and give this the rest of the gluing. Try to spread that out a little bit more even than I have been. See if I can. And just go ahead and do like this. And I think that will do the trick. And there may be a little bit of trimming needed. It looks like there's like a little bit of kind of extra, maybe I stretched it a little bit here or there. I don't know, like this, I don't care for this little corner. I'll take care of that in a minute. This couch does go up against a wall, so a lot of times I would be really, really picky about this hanging off the end, but I don't really have to, so I'm very carefully going to just trim it by hand, by eye, and it'll be fine. It's not going to show at all. Now that will show though, so I'm going to do something about that. This looks like a little bit of trimming. Just gently trim a little bit there. Get that nice and flat. Okay, so let's see. That one is the best one. The others did not so well. So let's see here. What can we do without gluing our fingers? But alas, I don't know what that is. I'm not sure. Because the gluing of the fingers is, I'm an expert at that part. So let's see if I just use a little bit of, I don't like that gaps there a little bit. So I'm gonna try using a toothpick because they are wonderful. And just kind of pushing this in. See how that works. I think with a little bit more glue, actually, that will work. Just right there in the corner. And then maybe use this side to push it together. Well, it looked like it was going to work. Okay, there we go. It's working. That's better, see. That needs a trim. Definitely needs a trim. But if I get some glue here as well, I'm using the clean end of my toothpick to push this together. And these look pretty good. All right, so that's that. And the trimming was this end. I wanted to trim a little bit of excess here. Okay, it's nice and clean for something that I don't think will show, but I'm going to actually change this kit after I'm finished putting it together. I'm actually going to personalize it. I think I talked about that in the intro video to this series. And so, you know, I still want the sides to look good and everything to look good, even though it doesn't show the way that the room is right now. I might decide to do something different to the room. And so I do want to have like nice, clean edges and stuff instead of cutting that there a little bit, which I will just glue and it'll be fine. But okay, so that's good to go. So what we have is like, this is going to go here like so. Okay, that'll be like that. And then we will look at these. So they are telling us to put these little guys go on the ends. So I had marked this A19. This is the other one. And this, these are so little. Oh my gosh. But I'm going to try to center that when I go to glue that. and just so that I can push this around the edge as well. So, wow, well, put a little super glue on there. See how this goes. I'm going to try to get this even and straight before it sticks too much. Okay, I think it did it. Okay, so we just take this and then we're gonna go ahead and glue the little tabs in. Oop, that was not enough glue. Okay, there we go. There's that. It looks like, how does that work? I guess these go down and then you just press them in. It's just not sticking well. A little more glue on this side apparently. Not too much there. Get a little overzealous with this. So, let's see here. What's that? Just do the other sides here. And we will have this glued down. Well, if it'll glue, just needs to be held. There's a lot of extra stuff here. So let me see. Maybe I should trim that. Oops. I don't know that it matters. Let me see. I think it's this. This goes on there. This is the top. It looks like they're going to have us fold it in like this and then go around the edge. Let me see how this is going to go. I'm determining if I really need to do any trimming or not, and I don't think I do, because it's going to go something like that. Right? I don't have to worry about these. You know, I was like, should I trim this here? And I mean, I can, but I don't think it's going to matter. And I want to be very careful about it. So why bother if it doesn't matter? And do this side. Looking good. Not bad, really. Like with as much super glue as I'm using, I haven't really glued my fingers that much. I'm sort of disappointed in myself. I feel like I could do better than that, you know? I'm usually quite skilled in doing that. All right, so this comes in like this, and then you put it on the ends. So All right, let's see here. Let's just see here. We have so it makes like a little pocket. So let's get this one out of the way. Let's move that. Choo-choo. So they want it to go underneath as well. Wow. Now, they said to glue this, to glue these flaps down. I just don't know that that's what I want to do though. I don't know if I want to glue it, because if I glue it, then it's going to be all stiff from the super glue. So what if I just don't? Yeah, I think I might just not do that. Or what I'll do is I'll use my tacky glue to sort of hold it in place. Could do that. A little bit here. But this is not, you know, the tacky glue just doesn't seem to be sticking this very well. So maybe just use that as a holding way of holding this together. Okay. It won't be all crunchy. I should be able to get that on there better. Alrighty, so that will work. Let's do from the end. Do like so, double checking to make sure that this will work well. Okay, now we want I'm trying to think here is what it is, and that's always very hard for me, is the thinking. So the problem, what I'm seeing is maybe a problem as I'm trying to work it out before I go and make the mistake. And I don't want that crunchiness from the super glue. I don't want that because the arms are going to show to a certain extent, and I don't want that. I don't want that to be all messed up. So I'm just kind of trying to think of what's the best idea for getting this on here without having the super glue make this not so great here. It's going to go like that. So maybe what I can do, let's do it this way. Get this flattened again. And then I can just do this on the very, very end. Very carefully. And glue this way. And that ought to work. And then bring it around the other side. Okay, so this is going to require super glue that I'm getting all over the place. That's what I do. Okay. It's best to make sure a million times before I glue this down. Okay, so I'm going to take this and go right to the very edge of this seam. And I'm not going to worry about the fact that that this part's not glued. I don't think that's going to matter. Unless it won't stay at all. See how that works. Because then this comes around. Yeah. Yeah, I do have to glue those two layers together, but I don't have, I can wait until doing it now. I didn't have to do it ahead of time. Trying to use as much care as possible. So I'll hold that for a second and see if that'll glue nicely. It's going to need some more. Okay. Any other time it would stick to itself like crazy. It's not wanting to stick. It's weird. Okay, well, let's open that back up again. Let's put some more glue in that from this end. I just don't want it to go too far in. I can feel my finger getting stuck. Come on. It's very odd. Just doesn't want to stick there. Okay, that's just weird. Let me see if I can just move on. I can't because it just won't stick. That's so strange. I have to get this to, well, okay, let's pull this off of here gently. And let's see what can be done about this. Clearly, okay, see that part's stuck. That's fine. This part doesn't want to stick, so we're going to try to make it stick by doing this. Okay. I think finally it's going to stick to itself. Maybe. This is the strangest thing. I want to use less glue and it's like it just doesn't want to do that at all. It's just not. That is so weird. Okay. I may have to just turn this off if this doesn't want to stick. Okay, I'm not sure why that is. Could be that tacky glue has wet this fabric. So if I can get that to stick, we can move forward. Maybe it's kind of sticking now. Let's test it. Might. I think we're good. So we're going to go back to what we were doing. I'm going to go back to the very edge. And see if this will all stick down now, just on the edge. I'm hoping. Looks like it might work this time around. Just hold this. Let's see here. So might as well, while I'm waiting on this, to see what's going on. So we're going to have a little pillow. That's going to be rough with the super glue. You know, they don't tell you what kind of glue they use. I remember I had a kit, it was so many years ago, or many years ago, and they had glue in there, and it was really awesome. It seemed like an Elmer's glue. That's kind of what it looked like, but it wasn't. It did not, it was permanent. And it was really nice because you could move things around. It was, and adjust them. It was really awesome. But I have not been able to find that glue. I'm in search of the perfect glue forever, I think, and ever. So that does not really want to adhere very well, but we need to move on. So what I'm going to do is make sure that, and I don't want to get glue in this middle. I still am really going to try to avoid doing that. I'm going to stick these down so I don't have that problem when I go to wrap this around again. I'm going to stick these. I think that will work. Okay. So just at the ends, not in the middle. See if that'll stick to each other. Okay. This needs to be brought around, and it's going to be troublesome. I think that tacky glue caused this problem. I know I can do this. It's just so, and like so. Yeah, it's starting to work. So let me see. If we do just a little bit of glue, I don't know that that has to be glued really closely, but I'll tell you, I'll do a little bit. But once again, I don't want to get inside. I just want to stay on the seam, this little overlap. And I'm just going to put a little glue on either side if I can do that without this coming out too much. So I'm going to wrap this around like this. And then okay. Not quite enough here. We need some more here and a little bit here as well. And this is where this meets. Sorry, I hope that you can see this. We're going to try to get that nice right there. All right, so let's do this side. And bring this in. There's a lot of trimming that's going to have to happen, isn't there? A lot of trimming. It's okay. Put some here, a little bit in that corner. Just draw this around carefully. It's a little more than I wanted. It will do. Okay. Now it's a little bit full. We can fix this. Okay. I don't want to put glue anywhere in here on the inside. So what I'm going to do, now that we're down to this end, is I'm going to trim very carefully. Trim, in fact, I might just have to use my X-Acto knife to trim this. And what I'm doing is getting a nice clean, what I want is a nice clean edge on here, so that what I can do is I can just glue right along there and seal that off. And it won't be perfect, but it's not going to need to be, because that seam isn't going to show. It's going to go right in here. So it needs to be a little better than this. Probably goes this way. You know, it needs to be a little bit better, but this can go on the underside. So I do need to go ahead and glue this all together a little better. I'm going to lift this back and get some glue down in these seams. And glue those to my fingers, preferably. Oh gosh, seriously. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I do want to glue that down a little bit better. If I glue it, I can do this. I know I can. I know I can do this without actually putting my hands together. Let me see here. There are ways. There's ways. Use the good old-fashioned toothpick again. And try to stretch that. You know, it's awful because the fingers are what works the best. I gotta be careful here. I'm pulling some of that off. Okay. Well, let's see here. What if we do this really quickly? Just roll that over there. Okay, that's rolling it in a little bit. And we want to have that a little bit better. But, like I said, these are going to get glued this way. You know, I want a nice clean end, one of the nice clean ends. That one's the cleanest. So that will go this way. That'll go here. And we'll be good to go. Okay. So there's that. I'll do the other one. So we have the back. We have this. Let me see here. What do we have here? They want us to, okay, we did that. We did that. Oh, we've got little feet. We also have this. these, the pillows go like so. I see now, like that. So we can do one of the little pillows. We can do that. And these look like, looks like this. It's just going to go over like that. That's what they want. And then they want you to, okay, they want this. They want to use the tweezers, which, you know, tweezers could have helped with this to a certain extent, but it just, I don't, they're saying use your tweezers, but this fabric is just really weird and it doesn't quite work that way. Regular fabric, your tweezers would be perfect, as they show here, but that's just not even gonna work, I guarantee you. So with what they're showing me though, I gotta tell you, I think that I will do, oh wow, they want the tiniest amount folded over. All right, well, so what we're gonna do is we're not gonna quite pay attention to what they said, I don't think. Let me see how I feel about that. If we go ahead and make a little tube out of it, that's what they'd like us to do. And then they want us to fold this in. Holy cow. Then they want the ends, clip it tightly. It says, wait the glue dried. It says, okay. This may be something where I could brainstorm a better way than this, than what they're saying. The back isn't going to show, but the sides absolutely are. So we're going to think about, I'm going to think on this, and then I'll just, I think that's probably the best thing to do, is I'm going to brainstorm and see if there's a better way to do it than this. I was able to brainstorm a better way for dealing with these pillows. So they worked pretty well, I think. And I was kind of wondering if the way that they show to do these pillows was just going to be really, really difficult to get a nice edge, you know, like this. So these are pretty good looking. And so I'm show you what I did. And probably I should have tried this earlier when I was dealing with trying to hold this material in place and I was using the tacky glue. So at any rate, so what I did is I grabbed one of my sticky rolls here, and what I want to do is go around the edges here. This edge, all right, and then this edge, and then we'll do that in a minute. So I want to take particular care in the corners and use this, and it's not really, mine are very cheap. I think these are from Temu or something, and they don't work all that great. But what we're trying to do is just get enough on here that it will hold this down evenly. So it could be the end of my roll or something too, who knows. Oh, but it's still in there, it just needs to come off. So what I'm doing is I'll take this and then I'm going to turn it in. They want your little bit of a lip there, a little bit of a seam allowance. And see if this thing is going to cooperate at all with me. There we go. Now we just need to do it on here. It's not a good brand, whatever brand this is. There we go. Want a nice end there. Okay, so we do like so. This paper is actually a script of things that I want to tell you. So I probably don't want to mess it up too much. So we want a nice straight edge. As easy as we can, the best we can here. Okay, and we'll press that down pretty well. Okay, so we have one end, and that's nice. So we do this to the other end, and maybe adjust that if it looks like it's not straight enough. And just do this too. Once again, being careful of the corners, because that's what's really going to help later on. So we want to get this thing to cooperate and put some glue along there. Hopefully yours is a little better quality than mine, but you get the idea here. And once again, just a small seam allowance there. It's basically as small as you can. Truthfully, I mean, you don't need to measure that. What you do need to do is be consistent. So I know that this is approximately what I have been doing. And I want to, you know, I want it to be the same size. And I want it to be the same size on both sides. So I just check, and then we're good. So I just can adjust slightly if needed, like right there. Okay, so that won't stick, you know, permanently. I don't think. You know, this has been sitting here, and it seems to be staying together, but I'm a little skeptical that this glue would just completely become permanent, dry or something, you know, set. So, but that's okay, because we just need it to make a nice end. Now, at this point, you could put some super glue there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go ahead and put the glue, this kind of glue, and getting the corners again, like I said. And I want to try to make sure that that corner is not pulled like that. So now I can make the tube. You know, they show you to kind of make a tube. But now I have a tube that has nice ends on it. So I'm taking this, and I can adjust it. This end is needing more adjustment. Nice clean end. What a nice one. And go across like so. See how well it did. Oops. Sorry. Okay, not bad. We're gonna look at this a little closer though. Lay this down. So I can make a certain number of adjustments without any of this fabric coming off the front of it. This vinyl look. Okay. See, now what I've done here is created a situation where you have a nice end. If you tried to just take it and turn it under like they're showing you, oh my goodness, you would want to pull your hair out. It just is, Dave, that's just crazy. So instead, we'll now bring in the super glue, and we're going to go first, go ahead and get this edge a little bit like that. So that goes down nice and flat. I am actually going to use my tweezers instead of my hands for a change, but see, my tweezers get messed up and I don't like that. That's why I use my hands a lot. So I want to do in here. kind of back from the edge. I want to keep this from leaking over too much. I want it like right at the edge, the glue to be right at the edge, but not over the edge. So at this point, then I can put the tweezers right along the very end of this and hold that for a minute. So meanwhile, you will want to grab some of that floof. They give us some floof. A little bit of fiberfill floof. And let's see. Okay. That might need to be touched up later, but it doesn't matter. Mostly I want to be able to put my finger in here and know that I'm not going to poke this all the way through. And it looks like it's going to be fine. So at this point in time, since I've gotten that down, I can go ahead and add, now that I know that this is even, well, I can even wait on that. I don't have to put any glue in there just yet. Doesn't matter, just, okay. All right, so how much floof? Well, yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that. The idea is that all of them are the same. I feel like this pillow's like larger than this one, but I can't quite figure out how it got that way because it's the same, but it's not. It's ever so slightly different. It's weird. So anyway, that's how much floof is. You want to try to do the same amount of floof all the way across. And I don't know. I don't know how much that is. It needs more. So you can just kind of put this in here gently. And then as we get more in there, you need to sort of take the tweezers and you see I'm sort of folding that in. Holding it with my thumb and forefinger so that it creates that, and then I can hold the end and I can see, I can kind of compare and do like so and see what we're talking about here. Is that about the same? Looks like it. Looks like those two will be the same. Okay, so just try to push the fluff in there to the best of your ability. It can be trimmed, but anytime we're trimming, of course, it's very dangerous. So there probably will be a little bit of fiberfill that sticks out. It's okay. Let's try to do the least possible. Again, just want to go on the very end. Uh-oh. There we go. So I'll show you what to do about that. Okay. So now, okay. Feels like that's probably it. So yeah, there's a little bit of fluff here that you can trim off. Just be careful. Just be careful when you do it. You want to try to keep it off because otherwise you're going to get it all, you're going to get all kinds of fuzzies all over the place. Yeah, like this. I glued down a piece of fiberfill. There we go. So these little pieces are coming out. So what I'm going to do is get my favorite thing in the whole wide world, a toothpick. And I'm going to put the super glue on the toothpick, just a little like this. And I can put it in those little holes to close it up. Okay. go. Anything over here? It's looking pretty good. So I'll floof these up a little. Make them look more like each other. Okay, so let's see what's next. I think what's next is actually putting the, we're gonna put this together now, this couch. Get this out of the way. And put this puppy together. Okay, so, all right, so we already put these down. And there's more space across the back because that's where this is going to go. Now, it looks to me as if everything is supposed to be at a slight angle and not like this. It's not supposed to be like that. It's, I keep meaning to look up what this is supposed to be replicating. Like, I think they're basing it on a famous couch design, but I can't put my finger on it. So, okay. Now, let's see here. So these we've already made. And it looks as if it goes like that. And that this and this will probably come in contact with each other, and that's how you can glue it on the back. Wow, okay, this may be a little bit of a challenge, but let's go about it this way. Let's do the back first, and we're just going to take this all along the end. I'm going to do with it over here, and just do on the end here. Real well. Even just glue all that down if there's anything loose like that. I think it's actually going to need more. I'm trying to do it over here so that I don't get it anywhere I don't want it. Okay, so sort of at an angle, I want to put this on here. And let's see. Just see how that went. I think that'll work just fine. Might need a little bit more glue, it looks like down here. How's it there? That looks fine. Let's put a little bit of glue down at this end. It looks like it needs some right there. Or maybe it just doesn't quite make it there. There we go. Okay, there's the back. Let me see here. So the sides here. Definitely there was a right and a wrong side. So I think this one goes over here and this one goes over here. Because I'm just trying to see what the best side was. These look pretty good. This direction. You just always put your best one forward. Nobody has to know that the others don't look good. The back of it isn't ever going to show. Okay, wow, let's see here. Well, I think okay, definitely need glue like along here, along this side. Don't get too much on the face of it, but I think I'm going to get a little bit in that corner. And now carefully carefully press that down in there. And I put a little on the edge here because I think we want that. Okay. This looks like the picture to me. Let me see here. This is the front. Get this all glued. It's a good thing that this doesn't show because, wow, it's a mess. That works pretty well. That works pretty well. Okay, so that's that. We need to put the little legs on, and then these, I suppose, could be glued if you wish on here. There's still some floofies here. You know, we could glue those down. I don't know. I'm not sure. If in doubt, don't glue it down. I'm not sure how I will feel about gluing those. So that's I don't know, that's up to you. All right, so the bottom, make sure your super glue is, you know, they really ought to have us do this before we put the back on, but I think it's because no matter which direction, which way you do this, whether you build the top or you put the little feet on first, either way, there's going to be something that could fall off. So I was kind of testing this a minute ago, trying to figure out how far in these could go. And I looked at it and I thought about 5 millimeters would be fine. So what you want to do is you just want to mark this. It just is going to make it nicer if you do. I just did 5 millimeters here and then in this way and put a little dot there. And I'm going to go ahead and do that around the way. And it'll give it a little bit more professional look. If I gently do that in this way. Like so. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on that. It's kind of hard. Oh, okay. So, rinse and repeat. 1, 2. It's about right. Right there. That does not look even, does it? Let's see. No, that's 5 millimeters. 5. This doesn't look right, does it? No, I guess it is. It's in a slightly more. That's what the problem is. It's in a little more. It's like here, here, here. And then okay. And about here. Let's eyeball that, see how we're doing. Sometimes this shows and sometimes it does not. The thing is, you know, there's a lot of irregularities in general, so it's a little difficult to to know the best way to do this, so, or if it should just be done by eye versus measuring. Okay. This works fine. Okay. Checking to make sure that these are nice and even and they're not bent a bunch of wonky ways. All right, well, let's see here. That looks like it's doing fine. Put the last two on here. And we're good. All right, well, that is that. It's pretty cute, all things considered. That fabric is not cool. It's just not cool. But I think it turned out okay. It turned out cute. So as long as nobody looks really, really close at that, it's pretty decent. It's funny, I blew up the picture of the display, like the picture that they take for the advertisement. And you can see all the little marks because this fabric is, it's just really ridiculous. And so theirs has a bunch of little marks and stuff, just like this one kind of does. So, anyway, so that's the couch. And we will be moving on next. I think probably I'll do this little hanging chair because there's not a lot left. There's the hanging chair, there's the lighting, and so there we go. There's our little couch. Okay, take care.